It's been 8 days since Jaden and Chris's fight when Chris strolls into Miss Cahill's creative writing class, smiling wide and clutching a shopping bag loaded with full-size Snicker bars wrapped in neon paper. In the few minutes before class starts, Chris begins making his way around the room, sidling up to each of the boys like a politician campaigning for votes. First, he stops at the desk belonging to the kid named Carlos. "Yo," he says, handing Carlos a candy bar. "My dad started a new basketball program called the Ballers. We practice every afternoon in the Lorraine YMCA. You should come check it out." As soon as he hears this, Jaden looks up from the math homework he's hoping to finish before the end of the school day. Carlos has never played a sport and is as well known as a kid who took a book to recess during elementary school. Still, Chris's assumption that Carlos has suddenly become an athlete was the least surprising part of their exchange. For Jaden, Chris's mention of a basketball program not named Hoop Group has the most intrigued. As Carlos unwraps his Snickers and takes the first bite, Chris moves over to Anthony and Dex, whose desks have been right next to each other ever since Dex rearranged his schedule and joined their classes. Dex and Anthony both gladly accept Chris's offering, but Jaden knows that neither of them even consider leaving Hoop Group. Even though there's not much of a Hoop Group left, Anthony is bound to the program by principal decree. Dex is by unfailing loyalty. Finally, Chris reaches Jaden's desk. Jaden wonders if Chris is going to mention their last interaction in the gym. The argument that shattered the already weakened team, but Chris, ever the showman, smiles even wider. "Check it out," he tells Jaden. The practice is free. There has never been a cost to join Hoop Group, and Jaden, puzzled, rips the flyer off the Snickers. He scans the page until his eyes land on $200 typed in bold print. His chest deflates like a 2-week-old helium balloon. While he was far away from happy about the idea of playing with Chris again, he misses basketball so much that he would have considered it. The price, however, renders that consideration pointless. There's no way he can ask his mom for $200 to join the Ballers. Not after she just dropped nearly that much on new shoes. Having suddenly lost his appetite, Jaden tucks the candy bar and the flyer into his backpack as Miss Cahill signals that his class is about to begin. "It's time to start thinking about your first big writing assignment of the year. You'll be happy to know that there are very few rules," she says. "You can write about whatever you want, in whatever form you want. Essay, poem, letter, story, I don't care. All that I ask is that you write something about something that is close to your heart." Some kids let out low groans in the word assignment, while others, like Carlos, are legitimately excited. Jaden is lost somewhere in the middle. He knows he has to keep his grades up if he wants to get into Willowbrook. He also can't blow up the project off completely. At the same time, he can't imagine himself ever being excited about a writing assignment. Some of you don't sound too enthusiastic. Miss Cahill continues. But you may be pleased to know that before I ask you to start writing, we're going to analyze some different types of writing forms. This process should help you decide which form you like and which one will work best with your voice, vision, and vision. For this assignment, Jaden watches as she walks over to her desk and picks up a book that looks vaguely familiar. We're going to start with poetry, she says, and today I'm going to read one of the greats, Langston Hughes. For a few more moments, Jaden struggles to recall where he's seen this book, and then his mind sparkles with clarity. Miss Cahill is holding up a copy of the collected poems of Langston Hughes, the same book Anthony had on the first day of school. He's proud of himself for remembering, but when he turns to look at Anthony with the shared recognition, Anthony narrows his eyes into sharp slits as if daring Jaden divulge his reading habits. The truth is, Anthony had already looking forward to the writing project, as seeing Miss Cahill pick up his favorite book only reinforced his expectation for his life and making everything right again. So much so that he didn't mind when Miss Cahill starts talking about a dream deferred. While writing this poem, Harlem is a fine poem, but it's not Anthony's favorite by a long shot. This distinction belongs to mother to son. The poem Anthony always starts when he sits down to read Hughes. He's already read it literally thousands of times, and he has each stanza committed to memory. In fear and pain in his mother's eyes, or the anger and shame in his father's, he whispers the first two of the lines to himself. Son, I will tell you, life for me ain't been no crystal stair. After creative writing, Jaden heads right out the door of Carter Middle School straight to the blocks. That's what he's done every day for the last week. Ever since he walked away from hoop group, he hasn't told his mom and Grams that he quit. So he hits the court from 3 to 5 to make use of the same time, foregoing his early morning workouts in favor of the late afternoon hours. He's still hooping and grinding, even though he's not on a real team. When Jaden arrives after school, it's still early enough that no trouble has started, but he's never alone like he is at dawn. In the afternoons, the blocks are filled with older players from the neighborhood, the guys who used to play ball and thought they had their own ticket to the league. Now they come and prove that they still got it. Never mind the soft arms and even softer bellies. They don't bang in the paint like they used to. Now their battles are waged on the perimeter. As such, a bunch of former Shaquille O'Neal turned Reggie Miller into wannabes. They still talk trash, though, and Jaden overhears them when they reminisce about playing in their primes. When they talk about how they faced off against Kendrick King and were just as good as him, if not better. Jaden is sitting on the edge of the court when he notices that today Roddy is among the group. Roddy's no pro, but he's definitely in better shape than the rest of the guys. He's running up and down the court while everyone else jogs. He's moving without the ball, slashing by defenders, cutting into the basket. He's extending his long arms to the heavens, calling for the rock down low. He's slamming it home. In the end, Roddy's team handles their opponents easily, and once the game is over, he takes a seat next to Jaden. "What's good?" Roddy says, breathing heavily. "Not much," Jaden says. "Surprised to see you, though. You're not normally here at this time of day." "I took off work, so I thought I'd put in some work down here." Roddy takes a long swig from his water bottle and then turns towards Jaden. "The real question is, why are you here? Hasn't hoop group started?" Jaden shrugs, then fills Roddy on everything that's happened since the beginning of school. He tells him how Coach Beck stepped down and how he got into a fight with Kendrick King's nephew. He even tells him how he walked back from the gym a week ago and never looked back. When he's done, Jaden searches Roddy's face for empathy or for sympathy, for some confirmation that he's made the right decision in leaving a program that seemed broken beyond repair. But Roddy simply waves him off. "Everything you just told me is an excuse," he tells Jaden. "What happened to your goal of playing at Willowbrook and then playing college ball? How do you think it's going to get there from here?" he says, pointing a stiff index finger towards the cracked asphalt beneath their feet. Jaden's voice rises with defensiveness. "How can I play in hoop group if there's no hoop group?" "Oh, my bad," Roddy says. "I didn't know that the school shut the program down. I thought you just said you quit." Jaden casts his eyes away from Roddy and shrinks in the silence that settles between them. "Well, did school shut the program down, or did you quit?" "I quit," Jaden says, his voice barely audible. "That's what I thought. Now, the last time we're here, we talked about how you're not giving up as soon as an obstacle appears in your way. That time, it was me standing in the lane and blocking your path to the basket. But now, my point applies to every other aspect in your life." He stops, then takes a long, pensive look at the court, and if he's considering his own words. "If you want to win," Roddy continues, if you want to even have a chance to stay in the game, you gotta decide that nothing is gonna stand in your way, and you gotta keep deciding every day." While Jaden is at the blocks, Tamika is at home, discouraged. She can't run a real practice with only three kids. She's not sure how to convince more kids to join now, and her dad is no longer coaching. A part of her wants to quit too, and just walk away like Jaden and Chris, and convince her mom and to let her go back to Austinburg. But there's another part of her, a part that believes that the season might not be lost. During practice, Dex spent an hour trying to convince Tamika and Anthony that Hoop Group can still win the fall Invitational Tour tournament. His energy and positivity were undeniable, and he spoke as he spoke. Tamika felt herself getting sucked in. Then the clock struck 5 o'clock, and she landed back in the real world. Now standing in her driveway, Tamika picks up her basketball and tosses it from hand to hand, taking comfort in the cool leather on her palms. She hasn't spoken to her dad much since he was stepping away from Hoop Group. But she wonders if maybe now's the time to talk. Maybe he can give her some advice, tell her how she can salvage Hoop Group in her 7th grade season. After just 1 year at Austinburg, Tamika was already getting looks from the Ohio players. A nationally ranked high school age AAU team. Playing for that club would be her best shot at getting into South Carolina. UConn, or one of the other top women's college programs. So she can't afford to regress this year. Not when her former teammates are still growing, and probably passing her by. Tamika sets her ball in the grass so it doesn't roll into the street, then makes her way to the house, walking through the garbage and laundry room and into the kitchen, where she finds Coach Beck sitting on the table with a glass of lemonade and today's copy of Lorraine Harold. "Want to play horse?" Tamika asks cautiously. "I'll let you go first." Coach Beck glances at her before returning his focus into the paper. "I wish I could, but the doctors may say my basketball days are done. You know that." "Come on, Dad. I'm sure you can handle a game of horse." "I'm done with basketball, Tamika," he says, his eyes trained on the newspaper page that he is now slowly turning. "Quite honestly, you should be done with basketball too. You're getting older now, and the courts are no place for a girl like you." Just like on the first day of Hoop Group, Tamika feels her eyes well with water. And just like on the first day of Hoop Group, when her hopes and dreams were dashed, keeps the anger that is gathering on her tongue from spilling out. With her mouth clamped shut, she storms outside and starts tossing up three-pointers, draining every one as the last flash rainstorm breaks out. As the sky alights and thunder barrels through the suddenly cool air, Tamika is wrestling with her thoughts and trying to fight the feeling that her father may be right, that her basketball dreams may actually be out of reach. In Lorain, Ohio, Coach Richard Beck is basketball royalty, but he is also Tamika's father. And if he doesn't support her, she's not sure who will. Tamika's older sister Tasha never cared much for basketball. Now a freshman at Columbia University studying political science. Tasha was always happier on the sidelines than with a pom-pom. With a pom-pom than she's ever been. Tamika's always happier on the sidelines with a pom-pom than she's ever was in the game. As a result, she never expected the tension with her father that Tamika did. Never had to clamp down on the passion burning in her soul just because it wouldn't fit within Coach Beck's narrow vision of who and what his daughters could become. The rain is coming down in sheets when Coach Beck appears on the front doorway trying to call Tamika in, but Tamika refused to answer. She won't stop shooting. Her tears have been blended with the rain. She's soaked to the bone, and she's sad and mad at the whole world. When clouds finally break and the sun peeks out, Tamika slumps to the ground in a heap of frustration and resolve. She's determined to show the world that nothing can stop her. She brings in Hoop Group and she's taking to take Dex up on his challenge. Tamika's going to turn to Hoop Group, or what's left of it, into a real team, and they're going to win the fall in Invitational tournament.